going? This is Strange Talk with Doc, and I am your host, Doc. Welcome to the show. I'm going to talk about why I am not the same man that I was before 5/25/2020, because the hashtag the time is now, hashtag amnesty deadline is coming. And I just want to talk about a bunch of things. I want to talk about some music. I want to talk about Trump. I want to talk about the police. I want to talk about some movies, some documentaries. It's not going to all be deadly serious. We're going to get to a lot of subject matters, and I hope that you stick with me. If you have a comment or anything that you would like to get to me, just look me up, Strange Talk with Doc, on your favorite search engine. You will find my show, my Facebook, my Instagram, and my Twitter. So I appreciate you once again, and I had to change my intro music because I didn't know that I was violating somebody's copyright. So I'm glad that I straightened that out, and I appreciate the new music. I hope you enjoy it. So let's get to it. The coronavirus has topped 9.8 million cases worldwide. There's 496,000 deaths worldwide. We have 2.5 million cases in America and 123,000 plus deaths. Cities are opening, they're reclosing. It's a clusterfuck. It's crazy. We have went back to mass mandatory. A lot of other places have went back to mass mandatory. Florida had bars open, now they're reclosed. And I'm going to talk about later what I think about the coronavirus and Major League Sports returning. But we're not going to get to that right now. You know, we had a young man named Cornelius Fredericks. He was killed uh, because he threw a sandwich. He was in a youth facility in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and he threw a sandwich, and he was held down for 12 minutes. And they finally charged Michael Mosley, Zachary Zolas, and Heather McLogan, who happens to be a nurse, and she rendered no assistance to this young man. They sat on his chest, and they all been charged with involuntary manslaughter and second degree child abuse. I think the cases charges should have been a little higher. This way that they could have actually been facing at least third degree murder or manslaughter. But I'm sure these charges hopefully hold some weight, and these are things that they can be convicted of. Unlike, I'm still kind of eerie about some of the cops being charged with first degree murder in some of these cases, because no jury will convict a cop of first degree murder. That has really never happened in this country, and I don't know if it will now. So I did bring up time is now, hashtag time is now, and hashtag amnesty deadline. And the reason I want to promote and push this message is this, quite simple. If you have done something that is racist, homophobic, sexist, stupid, that injured, harms, or stereotypes any race or group of people, the time is now to come forward. We should put a national deadline on this. Do not let us find out on our own that you did some funky shit. Admit to it. Maybe people will be forgiving. But if they have to hunt and find it, because there's been too many cases of blackface, there's been too many cases of the N word, there's been too many cases of people saying things against other groups, and this is the time to come forward. Be a man, be a woman. Let the people that you work with, let the people that you live around know who you are, that maybe you're contrite, you're sorry about it, and you can move on. But I say once again, hashtag time is now, hashtag amnesty deadline. The wait is over. Reveal yourself and be true to who you are, either then and you still are, or be true to who you have become today. Okay? So, Wilmington Police Department, we had this Corporal Jesse Moore. He's a 50-year-old man. Officer Michael Penner. He's a 44-year-old man. Then James Brian Gilmore, 48-year-old men. Now, these are grown-ass men, and the reason I state their age is because I want you to know that these are not children. These are not 21, 22-year-old or younger. They have all been fired from the Wilmington Police Department after the tapes were found on their audit. And their audit said that they wanted and they were ready for civil war, and they wanted to wipe black people off the map. One of them has been a true coward and said that he was just caught up in the moment. But we don't buy into that kind of bullshit. So, you know what? I'm glad they're off the force. Now it's up to Wimbledon to take their right to bear arms away from them because they are a danger to the local community. These are very dangerous men when you say that you want to hurt people who have not even done anything to you. So in Ramsey County Jail, the black COs have filed a case, discrimination charges against the Ramsey County District because they said that they were not allowed to have any contact with Chauvin since he arrived on May 29th. Now, I don't understand how you can give him preferential treatment because he's white and the only people who can guard him is white. That is ridiculous. It is the it's a jail system. It's the Department of Correction. Whoever is the CO on duty should be the one doing their job. This is totally nonsense and bullshit. I really don't agree with this. I think this is a horrible precedent they set, and I hope that they remedy this ASAP. So New York City has this police officer, David Anferdar. He's suspended for using a chokehold. He was caught on tape choking a young man who was wearing a Brooklyn Nets jersey, and he had to be tapped, literally tapped by another police officer just to release the hold. The young man went out. I don't know what he did, but this chokehold is a banned use. It is no longer in use. It's not supposed to be used by a police officer anywhere, especially in the state of New York, where they were told by, I'm sure they're high up, the captains, the duty sergeants told them, guys, the eyes are on us. New York is going buck wild. We cannot have these cases. And this is the same officer, David Anfarnar, who initially, another time, knocked the kid's teeth out of his mouth because he pistol whipped him. So, you know what? It's good that this man was not only arrested, but he was also now fired. He deserved to be fired. Indiana Police Department, Anderson, Indiana police officers Brandon Reynolds and Ashley Gravely, they were put on paid leave pending an investigation because on the 13th of June, they used a chokehold while arresting a suspect named Spencer Nice, 21. Once again, this chokehold, it should be put in a picture and be told and passed out to everybody in law enforcement from the inside to the outside on the street. This is a no-no, and if you use it, there will be ramifications. You will lose your job, which means that there's a possibility that you will lose your right to bear arms. And the right to bear arms is a privilege in this country. And I think that every time one of these cops are fired, suspended, or charged with a crime, they should lose that right until they're exonerated. If they're exonerated. We had a cell phone video, now fired police officer Jans Martel pulling a woman from a vehicle during a struggle, and then he puts his knee on her neck. I mean, what the man? I really would like to go through a week where I don't have to talk about the police doing something bizarre, the police doing something crazy, but every single week lately, this is what's just going on. Martell is suspended, and then eventually he did get arrested Thursday, and he was charged with battery and official misconduct. So we had this imbecile, William Baisley, right? He's working at a good job as a tech, I believe, at Apex Systems in San Francisco. He decides that he wants to tell this young man, Michael Barajas, who's 28, that he does not belong in his apartment complex. Now, he blocks him in with his car for several minutes. He threatens to shoot him. Come to find out, Mr. Barajas lives in the building. He's just going out to get some fruit. You know, it does not make sense. If somebody is not bothering you in your life, and the only thing that bothers you about somebody else is the color of their skin or to step in their walk, and you can't control your emotions to say live and let live, then you need to get some help, man, because this does not make sense. Becky's, Karen's, and these idiot men who are doing this, I don't understand. Is it the pandemic that's got you at home and you just can't handle it and you feeling stir crazy? Then talk to somebody. Get some help. There's help out there. I don't understand why people just don't reach out to other people and say, you know what? Help me, man. I am really losing it. You do not want to be the next person to go viral. You do not want to be a person who worked your whole life. You bust your ass to go to school, to learn a trade, to lose a job, embarrass yourself and embarrass your family. So this is insane, man. We need this to stop. This is a small thing, but we need this to stop. We have to allow people to live their lives. I am not going to go up to a white person and for no reason ask them why you don't belong on this block. You don't belong in this block. I wouldn't do that. It's not in my nature to do that. If they're not bothering me, I'm going to leave them alone. Live and fucking let live, man. So this mayor, Linda Crenshaw, where is she from? She had to resign because people. She actually said, what did she say? She said that she got on Facebook Live and started reeling off names and addresses of demonstrators in St. Louis. I'm sorry. In St. Louis. This is the mayor of St. Louis, and she should be forced to resign protissimo. Think about this. She is putting her constituents' lives in jeopardy by not only repeating their names, but giving their full addresses. Who does that in a seat of power? No police department, if somebody files a charge, goes on the news and gives the address to the person. It's crazy. Poor New York, man, my beloved New York. They're occupying City Hall because they are demanding that a billion dollars, sorry, $1 billion be taken away from the defunding of the police department. Do I think that the New York City Police Department has been militarized for way too long? Yes. I'm a native Brooklyn boy, born and raised, schooled there, went to college there, lived in New York for over 40 some odd years, and it has been steadily becoming more of a military force through the course of my life, and I would like to see that calm down. But I don't know if New York's went through the Wall Street thing. Now you got Occupy City Hall. I don't know if these are the proper ways to go about it, but if this is what they feel that they must do to get some action, because De Blasio was a mistake the first time, De Blasio was a mistake the second time. New York blew it on that because they refused to vote for a gay candidate. And so they pay for that now. Althea Bernstein, she's an 18-year-old black girl from Wisconsin. Well, let me say a young black woman. She had lighter fluid thrown on her. And not only that, then they set the match on fire. So they burnt this young woman because she was black and she was at a stop sign. And we don't have the right to be at stop signs without hearing racial slurs and getting shit thrown at us. Somebody's there. Who are you?
That boy.
Hey, Ned, how's it going, bro?
I'm good. How's everything?
I'm hanging in there, man, best I can.
That's good to hear. Still there? Hello? Doc?
My bad.
Oh,
My bad. I got interrupted for a second.
okay.
So everything's good with you?
Yeah, everything's great.
Fantastic. I'm glad to hear that. So I'm just going through some things here, man. And so Washington passed a bill to become the 51st state, but we know the GOP is going to shit on that. So
Yeah, that won't
good
get
luck
that
to
money.
you. Yeah, because that takes the power of that state out of the control of the president. The president likes to use that as his own state. This way he could call in the National Guard whenever he chooses because he doesn't have to deal with a governor and he doesn't have to deal, well, basically, he doesn't have to deal with a governor.
Yeah.
A
It just
district
sucks.
doesn't have a
I
governor.
never even realized that their senator doesn't even get a vote. So I'm like, what's the point of being in the room?
Just
I
to
got
hear
a
the
seat at
story,
the
I
table,
guess.
but I can't vote.
Yeah, like I said, and then they have no governor because there's no need for the governor. It's actually governed by the White House. So, and that's why he could always, all these idle threats that Trump always makes. I'm sending the National Guard here. I'm sending the troops here. He can't do it because if the state doesn't allow it, he can't do it. He can't like oversee them,
Yep.
which is good because he's a fucking lunatic, and I am so tired of him, man. Now we got a major problem in America that's kind of not being talked about to the degree I would like it to be talked about. There's
What's
been
that?
a woman, four men, and a teenage boy, all been found hung in Portland, California, Houston, and even one in New York City. And you know what? I've been around a long time that we don't usually publicly commit suicide like this.
Yep.
I mean, we got almost 9 cases, and all of a sudden they're all suicides. Okay, maybe one is a suicide. I don't know because they said supposedly they showed the film to the family of the guy who was in California. But that meant you had to leave your home with a chair or a ladder or something and do this in general public and nobody see you. I find it very bizarre. Very bizarre.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, so they finally charged all of these bastards in the Amadou Aubrey murder. They've all been indicted now. Malice, felony murder, which means life without the possibility of parole. They can be convicted of this, and I believe they will be convicted of this because they're not police officers. And one, Atlanta don't want to burn to the fucking ground. So picking the right jury, they've got to get rid of these guys, man.
Yeah, I think they go. You know the how they get those people off. Let's move the change the location of the trial.
Yeah, to some backwoods town where the population is less than 2% other,
Yep.
you know. Now
It'll
we
be in
got this
Montana.
woman, yeah, we got Kathy Jenkins, right? She's filmed waving a Confederate flag and telling protesters she's going to teach her grandchildren to hate you. And then this woman tries to pull back on this the next day. You know what? I was intoxicated or I had a headache. I mean, what the fuck is the matter with these people, man?
So you
You know
got a
what,
headache.
Kathy?
A headache makes you sprue hate.
Yeah. And you want to know something? If that's who you are, be who you are. It's all right. Own it. Own it. And I was talking about something before you called in. It's called Time Is Now. And there's an amnesty deadline that, and I think this is something that should be promoted. I talked about this before, and I'm sorry if you have to hear it again. I'm going to say it again, people. The deal is this: if you did something outlandish, you said something outlandish, you posted something outlandish, your time to admit that you've done wrong is running out. If you do not admit it and you have to be caught, then all the punishment in the world that should fall on you shall fall on you. You have a chance to make amends now. We're listening. We're not
I
just
just hate that
asking.
people are trying to cancel people that from shit that they did like in the '90s that wasn't a form of comedy now, and then everyone's seen it on television. No one said anything, and now 20 years later, you're trying to bring up this stuff and get rid of these people.
See, but here's the thing. This is why I was bringing that point up, Ned. And I understand your point. But here's the deal. If you did it, you might feel it. And this is a different vibe. I am going to take 1 minute of my time right now and say, I am guilty of dogging out the generation under me. I did not know or I did not see that they cared about anything. I thought they did not care about nothing. These young people have showed their ass and they show me that they care, that they are worried about their future, that they are worried about the conditions of this country. I appreciate them. I tip my hat to them. I don't give a fuck that they were angry. I don't care that they caused damage. I really don't. I appreciate them because I see that they are actually engaged. I thought that they couldn't be engaged. I didn't think they had the heart to be engaged, and they pulled the shit out of me. But that, listen, 25 years ago, blackface was fucked up, and today blackface is fucked up. Now the thing is, like I said, and that's why I got to this thing, amnesty. You can receive amnesty if you rat your fucking self out. Don't be caught. You know, like the next one that's waiting and five pitches comes up out of them. Then they cancel, fuck them, then cancel them because they're not man or woman enough to say, you know what? I did some funky shit in '82. Let me show you. But I
Yeah,
ain't
but I'm
that
trying to
person no
figure out,
more.
like, I see, like, the blackface thing, like, the original blackface that people was doing. I didn't find what Jimmy Kimmel playing Karl Malone as being blackface.
Well, I understand. You know what? There are some things that are going overboard. Okay, you got what's that? Tropical. Robert Downey
Tropic
Jr.
Thunder,
That
yeah. He already said he's not apologizing for that.
that movie might get pulled. You know what? Some streaming services are gonna fucking pull it. And you know they are. Everybody's hypersensitive right now. Hypersensitivity is the word of the week, the month. And it just goes like that. But you know what? It's how it's handled. Some of it
Yeah.
is degrading. I
Yep.
mean, some of that shit on 30 Rock, where they almost had a black person the color of midnight black. I
Yep.
mean, a color of black that doesn't even exist. You could see that Jimmy was trying to at least be Carl.
Yeah.
He was trying to at least be Carl. Fallon was trying to at least be Rock.
Yep.
But some of the shit on 30 Rock, I mean, 30 Rock, it's outlandish. The colors is like, what the fuck? There's no black people. Like, I mean, you have to go to deepest, darkest Africa to find this.
Yeah.
And why would
Morgan
they
was
be
on that show,
blonde?
so he should have been
Why would he?
Morgan.
He's about the fucking money, man. We ain't looking to Tracy for no knowledge or to kick some positive shit. He's about that bag. He's about that Walmart bag. That's all he's talking about. You know, and that's just it. But you know what? Everybody can't be a revolutionary. Everybody ain't got something to say. There are people that have something to say, and then there's people that don't have stuff to say. Me personally, I'm not thinking the same. I'm not moving the same. I'm not acting the same as I was before the 846. That shit changed my life, man. I mean, it changed my life. I don't think the same way. I don't feel the same way. I look at you with a different. I now look at you like you look at me. You know, I had a incident. Well, it wasn't really an incident, but I had a close interaction with a police officer earlier this week. And I probably was as standoffish to a person as you possibly could be. But I wanted him to know it. I wanted him to feel it. And this dude, he's obviously maybe one of the quote unquote good ones because he went out of his way to make me feel comfortable. But I let
Oh,
him
yeah.
know that I really didn't want no words with you. I don't even, you know what? If you need to get by, I'll give you like 5 fucking 100 yards. How about that? I don't want anything misconstrued that I'm coming at you in any kind of fucking way. Here's a whole, I gave him a whole fucking owl to himself, and he could sense it. So he basically told me he was sorry and he hadn't done anything. And that's not what I'm not looking for white people to go out of their way to fucking say sorry to me. If you ain't did me nothing, then don't be fucking sorry.
Yep.
We're not asking for guilt. We asking for fucking proper conduct. That's it. I'm asking for proper conduct. And if you come at me sideways, I'm going to deal with you instantly. There's not going to be no tomorrow with me. My taking apology days are fucking over. I'm angry. I ain't never been this fucking angry for this long a period in time in my entire life. I am angry and it doesn't seem to go away. It doesn't seem to go away. Every morning I wake up, I'm in the same fit of anger I was yesterday because I shouldn't have had to see that. And I seen that shit and it really messed me up, Ned. I don't know. Other people could blow that
Do
shit
this
off, man.
thing.
I
I still
can't
haven't
blow it
watched
off.
that video. Still haven't
I
watched it.
did. The video is life changing. I think it's almost a responsibility. I hate to say that to you. It's almost a responsibility to watch it because then you could feel and put everything into perspective of what's been going on. I think that 99.9% of those people that's been out there have watched that video and
Oh,
shit
definitely.
ran through them. It ran through them. And so you don't get to you put yourself in the position of a kid throwing a rock because he's saying that shit is me. Especially when you see the lack of empathy, because people were also begging that Officer Tao to just do something. And he
Yep.
was basically guarding this man, kill this guy in
Yeah,
front
to
of,
place it. Yep.
yeah, not in front of those people. Now that that video was the most viral, one of the most viral videos of all time, he watched him kill that man in front of the world. The
Yep.
world witnessed that shit, you know? And then
But
we
did
have
you
these
ever hear
fucking,
about that woman in that was years ago? Woman in cop. Her story's been coming back out. That she was a cop in Buffalo, and she stopped one of her police officers from choking out a guy. And she ended up getting fired.
yes. Well, let's not forget Dave Chappelle did a whole, his 846 comedy, if you want to call it. I call it social message that he did. He based a big part of it on a cop being fired who is set off to kill other cops. Because not only did he sue the LA Police Department because he had done nothing wrong, they still would not allow him to get his job back. And that's all he ever wanted to do was be a cop. So they killed his dream, so he killed some cops.
Yep.
There's a lot of other cases that are resurfacing. And I went through a bunch of shit that these people have done. The problem is they don't seem to learn. They keep choking people. They keep putting their knee on people's necks, and they keep doing this shit on film. It's almost to the point where it's like we don't give a fuck because
You don't
okay,
care.
you
Yep.
fire one here.
They
Go ahead.
police you and cheers them.
Yeah, it's strong. We're gonna give them that. The police union is strong, you know. And then they fuck with us every chance they get. They deny us fucking service in restaurants in Baltimore, right?
Yeah, that was crazy.
You why would you bother a man and a kid? Then you got this woman. I got a black husband, Karen. She just fucking loses her mind. I mean that video was ridiculous. Don't follow somebody if you ain't willing to deal with the consequences. That sassy, I'm gonna say this. He I would think he's gay. That sassy gay black guy wasn't going for that shit. He's the wrong one. You know that
The
sister
lady at
that
the
beat the
store
older
that was.
woman. Yeah, she's the wrong one. See now,
Yep.
that's the type of shit that I'm trying to not have those kind of confrontations because I don't want them to put me in a position where I got a mug shot. You get it? See,
Yep.
I was having this conversation with my wife today. She's like, you know what? Sometimes you got to just break them down. I was like, you know what? As far as I'm concerned, they're on some dark web. These motherfucking Karens are on a dark web, and they're having instructions to go out and confront black people to fuck their lives up. Because if you hit one of them, now you got a felony. You can't even get the right to bear arms. You can't even own a weapon to protect yourself. Now, who screwed up? She took a smack, but you got a criminal record. You might not even be able to get disability because you have a criminal record. You can't get welfare. You can't get services. You can't get student loans because you have a criminal record. You can't live in certain places because you have a criminal record. So I think this is a concerted effort, some dark, deep, and I'm not into conspiracies, but this is some psychological warfare these Karens and Beckys are doing. That's what this shit is. They going, what we got to lose? That motherfucker ain't gonna kill me. I take 2, 3 smacks, but his life or her life is fucked. So we have to be smart on these confrontations. You know what I mean? You have to be very smart. That's why I did that video or that program. I think it's very important that people go out and get their license, even if they live in a state where they're not allowed to carry. The license will come in handy one day. It may come in handy. Say you move to Texas, you'll be prepared when you go to Texas. You move to Florida, you'll be prepared. Shit, you go to Rhode Island, you'll be prepared. So if y'all have not checked it out, please go and check out my. It's about 2 weeks ago. It's reciprocity laws, reciprocity gun laws. It won't take much of your time. I believe it's anywhere from 6 to 10 minutes. I break down step by step on how you can get your license, and you don't even have to go to a range to do it. Just going to cost you a couple of dollars. Not that I even needed to do that, Ned. I felt that was a public service, especially to black people. We are so anti-gun, and then when the shit hits the fan, they outnumber us, and we will be out-armed. We won't even be able to, motherfuckers won't even be able to protect their own households because they're scared of the thought, even scared. The man has made black people in America, other than the criminal element, scared of even the idea of owning a firearm. It's your fucking constitutional right to bear arms, to be able to protect your home and your property. And I think
Unless
that that was
unless
a
it's the cops that's coming in. I was like, what the hell?
listen. Well, that's true. But you know what? If they come in and they come in your house and you get lucky enough to take them out before they take you out and you actually meet the 12 instead of the 6 pallbearers, you might be able to get off because you had the right,
Yeah,
especially if
that's what
it's
I was talking about. That
unannounced.
Breonna Taylor's boyfriend when he let off a shot. He didn't know who was coming in his house.
Well, that is true. And you know what? That's why they took the charges back away
Yeah.
because he was in the right. You know, he was definitely in the right. You have that right. I think that it's foolish for anybody to not to at least investigate it. Investigate what can I do? It's an extra piece of ID in your fucking wallet. It ain't gonna hurt to have, even if you never use it. I hope you never have to. I hope you own 500 guns and never have to use one of them in anger, one of them to protect yourself. That's my that's my wish for anybody who could hear me. But is that the reality of it? No, that's not reality. We don't know where we're going from here. We don't know where Corona is going to take us. Are we going to be fighting for food in a year? We don't know nothing. It's like fucking living in the.
Some of these
I
states are
feel like I'm
running.
living in the Walking Dead.
Yep.
I mean, we went
I just
back
had,
to mandatory masks here, man.
I just had to
Mandatory.
cancel two. I just had to cancel one trip in a driving trip. I was supposed to fly down to Miami. Once they numbers spiked, I was like, nope, canceling that. Then I was supposed to go down to North Carolina and ended up having to cancel that as well.
Yeah, we're a hot spot. Matter of fact, I think that if we went up to New York, we're supposed to quarantine ourselves, or they don't even want us there.
Yeah, yeah. That was
So
the whole
I
thing. I was like, I'm not gonna come back from Florida, then I got to stay in the house for 14 whole days again.
yeah, I'm not messing around. I go out once a week. I got my mask. I keep my mask on. I want you away from me. I am vocal. I will tell you to get the fuck away from me. I have that right because we had a lot of imbeciles down here without masks.
Yeah.
Now our numbers jumped through the fucking roof. We got one county where they said that the beds are at capacity, man. Capacity.
Yeah. And these governors ain't doing nothing. Oh, it's just a younger generation for protesting. What?
No, but here We have, like I said, they put down mandate Friday at 5 o'clock. Everywhere you go, you must have a mask. You can't even go grocery shopping without having a
Oh,
fucking mask on.
so it's just dumbass Florida then that won't put in any rules.
Oh well, Florida yesterday night closed all their bars again.
What he did?
Yes, they did. Bars are
Oh,
closed again. So
but they
things
won't make
opened up.
a mask mandatory.
See, the funny thing is, man, we have to be honest about this. We have a lot of Trumpites. There are a lot of Trumpites out there, and if he says jump, they go how high, master. And so he's walking around saying stupid shit and doing stupid shit, and he's thinking it's no concern. I mean, think about this though. This is how fucked
I
up
hope
we
he
are,
gets arrested.
Net. Lincoln County, Oregon, right? They told their black residents, don't wear a face mask if you feel unsafe about being racially profiled. Instead of saying, we'll tell the cops to take a fucking chill pill, no, y'all put yourselves in harm's way and don't wear your mask because we can't control our cops. And if you're walking around with a mask, they might harass you. This is, I mean, we living in a crazy place. You know, you got this fucking Donald Trump Jr. He talking about all the statues that's been torn down. Let's put up statues of my father, but better. I mean, who wants? Think about it. Those statues are being torn down because they represent a racist person. Why would we put even more racist person on a statue? And
That's
see,
true.
here's here's something that really bothers me. I hate some of these black people that are out here who do bullshit, man. They do anything for clout. They do anything. I actually this crossed my mind for 1 minute. 1 minute. So spare with me. I said I wanted to make one YouTube or uh, what do you call it, podcast, and the title was going to be "Black Man for Trump," just to see how many people I could get to tune in. But I said, you know what? I have too much integrity to clickbait like that. I couldn't do that. I couldn't do. First of all, I would never want anything with my name associated to that. So I said, get your shit together, Doc. Don't even do that because it's foolish. And I had to actually change the music to the show because I didn't even know until I was informed. I was uh I was offered a sponsorship. And so when I got this sponsorship, I found out that the intro music I was using is trademark copyrighted. And having worked in that industry for years, I felt horrible. So I actually wrote a personal letter to the person whose music I've been using for these last 2 years, and I apologized, and they accepted it. And I told them I would never use it again, and they was like, "No big deal." But I knew I couldn't profit off of it. But the sponsor who offered me the sponsorship is also somebody my integrity will not allow me to sponsor. They go contrary to my belief system. So I had to turn down the very first person who was willing to financially sponsor me. I mean, but shit like that happens. If you got no integrity, you take anything. You know what? For a little bit of money, I wasn't willing to sell the show, and that's basically what I had to do. I would have to sell the show to somebody else and let them have all the rights to the words that are coming out of my mouth every fucking Sunday, and that's not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. I'll take my numbers and run with them. There'll be another sponsor down the road, bigger and better. Matter of fact, I would love for these two people to sponsor me: Drew Estate Cigars and Heineken Beer. Come get me. I'm yours. Those two I would like. So let's go on to something lighter now. You still there, Nat?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, I want to go on to something a little lighter. Music. Music has been ramped up during the Corona slash riots. There's this guy Jack Ross. It's okay to be black. I love the song. I love the song. Have you ever heard it?
No, I never heard of that.
Okay, that's something worth listening to. I can't even pronounce this name, but I'm gonna do my best. Lecari.
I don't know.
Okay, well, this person had a song called Deep End. Very good. Trey
Deep
Songz
in.
had the Deep End, DEEP End. Trey Songz had 2020 Riots. How many times? Good song. Good song. Usher had I Cry. Good song. Well worth it. PE, Public Enemy, came out of nowhere. State of the Union, Shut the Fuck Up with DJ Premier. Loved it. Anderson Paak came out with Lockdown. Loved that. YG, a guy who I wouldn't think would give a fuck, but he came out with FTP. It could be interpreted two ways: fuck the police or fuck Trump. Or fuck the president. To
Yeah.
me, which is, fuck Trump. And it's a simple song because he's straight to the point. He FTPs you to death. He doesn't do a lot of rapping, but the sentiment is well taken. I love it. Now, here's another one who I did not in a million years think he would have anything to do with this. But Casanova 2X, Run the Town, loved it. It's super ultra aggressive. He mentions people by name, so you can't get this confused with a street song because he actually puts the Mike Browns, the Eric Gardners, the Philandos in the song, the George Floyds in the song. And I didn't even know he had talent enough to craft something like that, but I really loved it. Beyonce's Black Parade. I thought that was kind of weird. I thought it was kind of weird. I really don't know how to take Black Parade. So I'm still on the fence. Her, H period E period R period. I Can't Breathe. That shit is great song. Papoose had a song called Tribute.
I heard that
Tribute.
one.
He rapped A to Z about deaths, people being murdered, and that was a powerful song. And this one's a couple of years older. G Easy, The Love Is Gone, but it fits. Billy Porter from Pose had a song, For What It's Worth, which is a remake of a Buffalo Springfield song from the 60s, but it's timely for today. Great song. Nick Cannon's poem, I Can't Breathe Again. Nick Cannon confuses the fucking shit out of me, man. Nobody confuses me more than Nick Cannon. Nick Cannon is that idiot on America's Got Talent, uh, Wild and Out, and what the hell is this other show he's on? The Masked Singer, where he almost is a character. And then when he gets angry and then he puts down a poem like I Can't Breathe Again, it's like, which one of those guys are you, Nick? But I appreciate this, you know? But he does confuse. I ain't bullshit you, Nick. Nick confuses the shit out of me, man.
Yeah, I
Then
think he
you have,
doesn't know what lane he wants to go down.
yeah, he's either a revolutionary, but a revolutionary doesn't take mass off a fucking alligator mass off somebody who's badly singing and making it sound like it's great. But I guess he wants to keep living that lifestyle. But when he speaks in his, one thing I give him, when Nick Cannon speaks in his own voice, it's always for power. Usually, other than fucking with Eminem, it's usually for power. So I ain't got no problem with him. Machine Gun Kelly threw his name into the ring. Him and Travis Barker. They did "Killing in the Name of." It's a remake or a cover of the Rage Against the Machine song, and that's a great song that every generation should know. There's certain people that everybody should have in their homes. Marvin Gaye, Bob Marley, and Rage Against the Machine. These are people who are actually revolutionaries just through their talent. So I do appreciate Machine Gun Kelly for actually putting Rage's name on young people's tongues who did not know who they were. And Rage Against the Machine is a great group. They're a version of Public Enemy just from the West Coast. Everything they ever sung was social messages. You know, I listened to a two albums by this guy named Wiley. Wiley's from the UK. One was called The Godfather 3, and the first one was called Bossy Gang. Boasty Gang. Boasty Gang was some hardcore 1990s ragamuffin hip hop, and it was fantastic. I almost liked every song on that album, and this dude didn't cheat. He didn't cheat anybody. I mean, his fucking albums had 20 songs on them a piece, and he dropped both of them in a week. And so, if you like ragamuffin hip hop, rap mixed with reggae, you'll love this album, Boasty Gang. So go out and get it. And The Godfather 3 has some good grime music in it. I love grime. I love the aggression of the beats. I love the aggression and the different way that they phrase thing in England. And this man makes me think of Eminem. Bob Dylan is a wordsmith, one of the all-time greatest writers. He came out with this album called Rough and Rowdy Ways. And the music on here, Bob Dylan can't outsing a dog. I mean, he's like a cat you pulling the tail. It's the words that he uses. He's like Eminem. Eminem is a wordsmith. The way that he plays with words and phrases that go into the next phrase, that's what Bob did on this album. This album is fucking legendary. Legendary album. I really enjoy it. Now, you have to tell me about this because this is not affecting me. What the fuck is going on with the fireworks, man?
Actually, they've been calming down lately, but last week, was that last week? Well, whatever weekend was Father's Day, man, that leading up to Father, it was like Iraq. It sounded like explosions was just happening from, I'm gonna say, sundown to about 3 in the morning.
Hmm. You know that shit comes with like 9 million conspiracy theories. I ain't getting into any of them,
Yeah.
but people want to know where does somebody get to afford to have all these fireworks? Yeah, I've heard every conspiracy. There's too many conspiracies, so I don't run with them because
I mean, it's dirt
actually,
cheap. It's guys that rides around. Like, I've seen, hey, you want some fireworks? He pops his trunk and sells fireworks.
yeah, well, I could dig that. But like I said, with the conspiracy, because we have this woman, right? She's actually running a Republican, and she's running for Congress in Missouri. And her theory is, and this is a black woman, her name is Winnie Headstrong. George Floyd is alive, and the cop and George Floyd were just actors. And this was to set us off like a false flag. So it's insane.
I mean, it
So
was
that's why I
basically
don't.
the same thing the president said about the older white guy that got pushed to the ground in Buffalo.
Oh yeah, yeah. So people love conspiracies. This woman did like a 20-minute video on it. I refuse to watch it. See, and this is what I was talking about, the clickbait type people. Anything,
Yeah.
say anything to get further. There's this black guy. I see him all the time on YouTube, and I hate him, and I refuse to click on his videos because you could even see in his clip, like he's fat, and he wear a little bippy shirt, and he put on a MAGA hat, and he dance like a fool. And I was like, you know what? Anything, man. How, my thing is this, Nat. If I can't look in the mirror, then what am I'm dead. You know what? Styles P said something like a week ago, and I'm gonna have to give him credit for it. Everybody code ain't your code, but I don't have to understand your code. Now you don't have to abide to my code because my code is tough. My code is strict, but I don't bend it. I don't break it. It took me 50 years to build this fucking code, so it's lock solid. It's stiff. It's sturdy. It don't have leaks. It don't have gaps in it. This shit is a doctrine. This is a way of life. And but I'm not. I've never been one to do anything for a dollar because if I was a person who would do anything for a dollar, I would have got involved with some thuggish shit growing up where I was. When the dudes on the block said that they were going to make moves, I was like, "I'll see you when you get back." Okay, that's not my world. I'll see you when you get back. If you make it back, if not, your ass will be calling me from Rackers. But no, everything for the dollar ain't never been me, ain't never going to be me. You know, I've been watching the Twilight Zone season 2, and that shit is good, man. I don't care what they say about season 1. Season 2 is hot.
That's Jordan Peele?
Yes, he kicked ass on this one. The writing is good, the acting is good, the stories are crazy, and you'll know like in every episode you'll know people. It's not like he got actors that you'd be like, who the fuck is that? No, he's using people like Chris Maloney. He uh he used Smollett girl, the Smollett sister. He used
Okay.
Damon Wayans Jr. I mean, so it is very good. The storylines intrigue you, and then the acting brings it home. So I tip my hat to Jordan on a good season 2. It was not season 1 wasn't for me. Season 2 was better. Sometimes things improve in time.
Yeah.
Now I recommend this for anybody, man. Bully, Coward, Victim, the story of Roy Cohn. The two documentaries. One is called Where's My Roy Cohn? That one relates more to Trump and Roy Cohn. Bully, Coward, Victim. The story of Roy Cohn explains who Roy Cohn is and how he actually placed Trump in the position that Trump is in today. He was mentored by a madman, but most people knew this. But to see the video, to see people talk about it, you hear the planning is fantastic. Well worth it. Both of these videos, I mean DVDs, are well worth seeing. This is no fucking YouTube nonsense. This is real stuff. Roy Cohn was a real man. He did a lot of real evil. He influenced a lot of power brokers. I mean, this dude said in 1977, I could see Trump in the White House. At the time, Trump was nobody. Nobody. He wasn't even in the Manhattan circles. We forget that Trump is a boy from Queens. He wasn't even in the intermix with the Manhattan power brokers. Roy put him in there. So it's very good. And then I seen maybe one of the worst comedy hours in the history of comedy, Eric Andre. Legalize everything. I am not telling you to go see it, people. Eric Andre, this is an hour of drug talk, talking about ass eating, smoking weed with his mother. You see his dick. You see his ass a couple of times. But this is Eric Andre. This is what Eric Andre does. Anything less, I would have been like, okay, he was calming it down for his Netflix comedy special. But no, he acted like Eric Andre. In the middle of New Orleans, getting naked and putting his dick in a hole in the wall. That's what he does. So I don't expect anything less. Now, before I get out of here, I just want to talk sports and COVID. Net, I think that the NBA is making a drastic mistake, even attempting to come back. I really do. I think it's foolish. What do you think?
I thought if they could pull it off the way the UFC, but they so divided. I'm like, they might as well just do it with the 8 playoff teams and call it a day.
See, here's my problem with it. My problem is Florida is the epicenter right now. How are you going to bring back these multimillionaires to play basketball in a town, a state where people are getting sick by the thousands? It's the optics of it look horrendous. It just
Should have went
looks
with the
horrible.
Vegas route, but
You can't. Vegas has already went back to massing. Vegas opened like 2 weeks ago. Masks were not mandatory. Now, as of Thursday, masks are now mandatory again. So that means they have a problem. There's really nowhere safe. The NFL, I think, is just fooling themselves. I think Major League Baseball is fooling because the difference between NBA and Major League Baseball and football is football and baseball are going to have to travel. They have to travel. And do you know how many people it takes to travel with a football team? I'm not just talking to players. You got equipment managed. You got equipment. What are they going to do? Get army planes to travel? Then you got to be in a hotel. See, the bubble for the NBA was working. But because that damn governor opened up Florida, that shit is like a festering bed for this virus. So I'm
Yeah,
I
but
wish
isn't it
them
where they
well.
want to go? Because they doing it in Disney World. They haven't been open, so it's like a vacant space.
Well, that's true, but who? What about what they bring in?
Yeah,
What about the
they
guys who?
that's the thing. Everybody has to stay within that. You test it and stay within that bubble. You can't leave. It's like when you remember those old shows where they put the dome over the city.
Yeah,
It's
see, here's
basically
the
like that.
thing, man. These guys are not gonna. I guarantee you, some of these guys within 2 weeks are gonna be starting to talk about. I feel like I'm incarcerated. There's so many times you can walk by that Disney castle and go, "Oh, that's cool." After a while, you go, "I'm tired of seeing that shit, man." You know what? Then you, who's going to sequester the staff? There's got to be people that's going to be washing for them, cooking for them, cleaning for them. And what do you do to justify those people being in a bubble? Or are they allowed to go home every night? See, and that's the problem. It's not like they're there on their own. It's not like LeBron is going to be fucking cooking dinner for the whole Lakers team. And me, this is just me personal. I think if LeBron was in a position that he was in last year, where his team had no playoff chance, and he was injured, he'd be pushing the opposite direction. He'd be like, "Fuck this, it's not worth it." But because he feels that he's at the bubble of getting a championship, and then what happens? My thing is this: what happens? Say a team. I don't want to put any names because that's even though I don't believe in that juju bullshit. Say a team 2 stars get it, and they
Yeah,
gotta miss
Jokic
like
just
three
got it.
games.
He the
What
star of
happens?
Utah. Not Utah.
Well, Denver.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you do then? What do you do then when say fuck it? I guess I gotta use name. Say Chris Paul, no George, Paul George, and Kawhi both get it in the middle of the finals. In the middle of the finals, they got a game Friday. They tested positive on Wednesday, and there's 2 games before they're allowed to come back. How did how did we not put an asterisk and say that this was fair? I mean, because some people think about this. The Rockets are in a bad position. D'Antoni is not allowed to come in and coach. That's his team. He can't coach because he's in that age bracket that they don't want. I
I didn't
understand
know.
my
I
Spurs.
didn't know about that.
Yeah, yeah. Him and Pop are not allowed in the bubble. They're over 65. They don't want him in the bubble. So now that means the Houston Rockets are going to be coached by an assistant coach. And maybe he's just not as good as D'Antoni, and that's why that person's an assistant as opposed to a head coach. So, they had a UFC last night. I can't wait to see it. I watched that later. I'm going to watch that and some golf. I always watch the UFC the day after. From what I heard, the Dustin Poirier Dan Hooker fight was one for the ages, they said. So I can't wait to see that. And there's some people on that card I like. And we got this guy down here. His name is Michael Phelps. He runs this place called 311 Motor Speedway. And I just want to say, he can go fuck himself. He was selling the Bubba rope, the Bubba noose rope for $9.99. And then he also posting the same thing where he's selling his ropes. White lives matter. So he just said a big fuck you to everybody black. And if anybody's black going to his speed raceway, you're an asshole. You know what? Watch the shit on TV. Don't ever support his business again. 311 Motor Speedway in North Carolina. You know. Do you think Mississippi is going to pull the Confederate flag part off of their state flag?
I'd like to say yes, but it's Mississippi. So I don't know. I really don't know because it's certain states where you just like they're just like dumb fucks.
Well, thanks for reminding me. Before I go, man, I gotta say this, or I'm gonna be feeling real bad. Fuck you, Alabama. Fuck you, Alabama, for showing your ass last week when Wallace. First of all, everybody accused him of lying. They went all on Fox News. They went on Twitter. They went on Instagram. They calling him Bubba Smollett. The fucking rope was a noose. It was a noose, 100% a noose. Nobody pulled back. Nobody apologized. Kurt Schilling didn't apologize. Nobody. And then for Alabama to do that Confederate flag the day after, basically saying we're racist and we're in your fucking face about it. You know, like Trump today liking a video of a man saying white power. I mean, damn.
I
How
think with the
does a sitting president like a video that says white power in it?
because he's fucking racist.
But Alabama,
He don't need
black
to hide it.
people, yeah, black people in Alabama, don't send your fucking kids to play for those schools. Don't play ball there. And why are you in the state of Alabama or Mississippi anyway? I never could wrap my mind around it. Every street in Alabama, every street in Mississippi is drudged in blood. It's got, if you step on the ground hard enough, your fucking shoes will get dirty with black blood. I never understood why any black people live in those places. I don't give a fuck
Hey,
if you gotta save for a generation. Get the fuck out of there. Don't buy no house in Alabama. Don't buy no fucking house in Mississippi. And don't send your kids to college there. Do not do it.
that's
You
that's
got
how
the
they get them. You start taking away money from them colleges by not sending your kids there, and I bet you they change their tune.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. We gotta have kids in these colleges be strong enough to say what they mean and mean what they say. The first kid, I actually had words back and forth with him on his Twitter. He comes out against Grundy at Oklahoma State. I ain't gonna play here because he blah blah blah. And then the very next day, Grundy doesn't apologize. He fucking basically apologizes to the coach because he handled it on social media. Where do kids do their whole speaking? Everything fucking kids' life is social media. That's how they handle their business. So stop it. I should have called him in and talked to him like a man. You're barely a man. Then he pulled back. But now we got kids in Mississippi, University of Mississippi and Ole Miss saying, I'm not playing here. The baseball team saying they're not playing there, but they got to stand their ground. Don't say it if you don't mean it, or don't say it to begin with. It's simple as that. You're right, Nat. Cripple the fucking schools with the money. We want. You see what Clemson did? They took them fucking statues down because that pressure came down from their greatest alumni.
Yep.
The alumni said, you know what? We want that shit going, man. If not, you'll never see us again.
And I also think that I hate to say it, but some of these HBCUs, maybe some of these star athletes can start switching and going over there. Maybe messing up the whole NCAA system.
Okay, but you know what? As long as it's where they need to be, let's not forget, I am talking about supporting the whole fucking state of Mississippi, the whole state of Alabama. Pull black out. And those schools are in Alabama, those schools are in Mississippi. Mississippi Valley State. I actually had a friend go to Alabama A&M, and he wound up going to the NFL and played in the Super Bowl.
Oh,
Good
wow.
friend of mine. He passed away a couple of years ago. But you, I don't. If he had a choice, and I sat him down, he had a choice between going to Alabama A&M or even going to, I don't give a fuck, Rhode Island. I tell him to go to Rhode Island. Don't go to Alabama. Don't go to Mississippi. You know what? They want to have it all to themselves. Let's see how good they compete with all white teams. Let's see how
Yep.
good they compete with all white teams. See, Coach K ain't stupid. Yesterday, he was like, you know what? I'm getting ready to lose some kids. I'm in the South. That motherfucker went out and made a video, Black Lives Matter. He's like, fuck this shit, man. I ain't dumb.
Yep.
At least you're going to have me on record saying it. And It's a big thing. He said, at least you're going to have me on record saying Black Lives Matter. So if I sit in front of a mother or father, it's already documented how I feel. You know, we hear from Nick Saban. Nick Saban ain't saying shit in Alabama. Not a word. Because one, he ain't going to fuck with the people in Alabama by saying Black Lives Matter. And he ain't stupid enough to say all lives matter. So he just saying, you know what? The best thing I could do is not say nothing. And he going like this. I'm lucky. I'm lucky Alabama flag ain't got no fucking Confederate flag on it. It's just a fucking A. So, that's how that goes. Ned, if you ain't got nothing, the floor is yours. If you got something to say it. If not, we're going to get out of here.
Just say, if you see a movie called Force of Nature, just don't turn it on. Stay away
Force of
from it. I
Nature.
watched it because Mel Gibson was in it, and I pretty much like Mel Gibson movies, but yeah, he could have chalked that one up.
Okay, so I will stay away from Force of Nature. And I'm going to thank Sky, oh boy, oh, for my brand new theme music. It's very short, but I appreciate it. It's royalty free. I can use it. He gave me a license to use the music, so I definitely appreciate him. And Net, man, I thank you. Almost 310,000 listeners.
Yeah, I saw that number today when I went on for the phone number.
310,000. That is a phenomenal number. I'm proud of what we do here. I appreciate your help. And I hope that everybody continues to listen to Strange Talk with Doc. I don't care where you listen to it, just do it. Okay? Well, Net, brother, you have a peaceful week, man. Stay safe, stay healthy, and watch out for Karen, Bob, and fucking Becky.
You too, bro.
Yes, yes. And I'm going to tell everybody, like I tell you each and every time, people, peace to you and peace to yours.